All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Do Hard Things podcast. I'm Jay Teagues. Happy Monday morning. Angie, how are you?
Great. I'm Angie Betran. Hello.
Angie Tran.
Yeah.
Welcome.
What's up?
This episode is called When You're Up Shit Creek Without a Paddle. What I wanted to do is highlight and talk about a situation last week that I found myself in. And we all find ourselves up shit creek without a paddle. And that's really, having your back up against the wall when you're you're really stuck in something and you're really facing something. And that's just part of life. And, how do you navigate a challenge like that? I kind of want to peel back the onion, I guess, share my misery with you a little bit and kind of share how I kind of walk the dog on it. And in the grand scheme of things, my misery was just it's first world problems, right? So, and we'll kind of get into that. But I really did. I'm back in Missouri, and the only reason that I'm here is by the good grace of someone calling in a favor. We'll get into that. So, okay. But first and foremost, if you haven't done so already, make sure you smash that subscribe button so you're notified of future episodes. Leave us a review on iTunes and share it with some of your friends as we try to expand the Do Hard Things nation. Yeah. This episode is sponsored by the Lions Guide. The Lions Guide is it's a online academy for leaders, and we have a group called The Forge, and The Forge is a high performance community where we focus on creating a network of high-performing people. We have frameworks and challenges, and we have that sense of accountability for you to grow. So if you're into podcasts and reading books and you want to connect with other like-minded people, that would be like the next rung of your personal growth and development journey. I'm a high-performance coach that leads the group. We have a book club, and we have a network of just awesome people that you can rely on. So go to lionsguide.com or reach out to me directly, and you can learn more about the Forge. We're also sponsored by Do Hard Things Apparel, so you can get your awesome motivational shirts. I'm back from vacation. I'm ready to get back into work mode. So I got my, nobody cares, work harder shirt. So just to remind myself that, my problems it doesn't matter. Get back to work, right? And, Angie's got the smile shirt. We have all sorts of it's apparel that just reminds you to keep showing up and kicking ass.
That's right.
And upcoming events on 09 September, we got the Do Hard Things 5K and 9.11 mile run or ruck. We have virtual options. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm surprised. We're up to 62 ruckers now, which we have a ruck component of this. And so we've got quite a few ruckers that are showing up, and we're super excited about it. We got Sid Bush coming out. We got Noah Austin coming out to provide some live music, and it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. So if you can't make it geographically, it's going to be in Columbia, Missouri, but we also have a virtual option. So if you want to support what we're doing, go to dohardthingsnation.com, sign up. Lacey's made an awesome 9/11 memorial shirt, and we have a pretty cool, unique Do Hard Things medal. So
yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Lacey did a great job putting that together. So. But yeah, so that's the business end of things. So Angie, how are you doing this morning?
I am doing great. I spent the weekend in St. Louis with the grandkid and the kid, and we went to City Museum. I don't know if you've been to City Museum.
Yeah, that place is rad.
Yeah, man. We went and we had a blast. We were just dripping with sweat from climbing through all the things, and it was just so much fun. We had a good time. Good weekend. Really good weekend. Just getting some family time in.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, you find yourself in St. Louis, the City Museum is one of those, it's known around the country. It's just this.
Yeah.
I forgot the background of the gentleman that put it together, but the bottom line is it's this cool, old building where they put I don't know, there's an airplane on top of the building. There's a bus up there, and you can just climb around. The slides everywhere. And it's artistic, yet I don't know, fun, because it's a playground for everyone, and it's a really unique place. You got to go there.
Definitely want to take knee pads, for real.
I took my kids when they were little, and there were just a lot of people there. I probably should take them there now that they're a little older. They probably have a different appreciation for it.
Yeah, I mean, because I have fun as an adult climbing through all the tunnels and places and exploring. I mean, it's really hard to describe if you've never been there what it is about, but it's like a jungle gym, 4 floors of jungle gyms, of different types of jungle gyms and activities and neat, cool things to do.
Yeah, it's cool. There's nothing else like it that I've ever seen. It's pretty cool. So
yeah.
We're not sponsored by the City Museum.
Oh yeah, we are not. We're not.
But if they want to, we just gave you a great infomercial.
Yeah, go check them out.
right. So this episode, Up Shit Creek Without a Paddle. So I guess bottom line is I found myself just like, many of us from time to time, we have our back up against the wall. And how do you navigate, a challenge where you find yourself? And so here's my little tale. And so I took the kids out, me and as my three daughters, who are 15-year-old triplets. And we went, I like to take them on a summer trip somewhere, every year. So this was our summer road trip, and we decided to go out to Colorado. I had spent some time in Colorado Springs. The girls had been in Colorado, but they'd never been to like Pikes Peak and the Garden of the Gods, so I decided to take them there. Plus, Sam, one of her best friends, military family, Fort Carson is there, and one of her best friends moved there, so she wanted to see her. So I'm like, you know what, you can see your friend, and we can see some of the sights there. We'll load up in the VW, and we'll head out there. Now I have two vehicles. I've got a 4Runner and I've got a VW, and the 4Runner is I've lifted it. It's got camp gear on it. It's designed for off-roading. It's designed for some travel, and that's what I set it up for. But the gas mileage is a little bit rough. I think I'm down to like 13 miles to the gallon.
Ooh.
And with fuel prices the way
Ouch.
they are, and I do a lot of driving, in just commuting back and forth because I'm living between Columbia and Waynesville. It's like 2 hours. I bought the VW, which is it's a cool little TDI diesel, and it's got a manual transmission, the millennial anti-theft device, and it gets like 42 miles to the gallon, which is great. It's a fun little car to drive, and that's my little commuter, and it saved me. It keeps the miles off my 4Runner. I decided to take it on this trip, like I did on the last family trip. Well, on the last family trip, the clutch went out, and it left me stranded in Virginia. And it was a pretty expensive repair. Like it was like all said and done, there were two components that had failed back to back. It was about a $4,000 repair. And I'm like, man, that was a tough pill to swallow. That really hit me in the pocketbook quite a bit. Left us stranded. Kids were a little traumatized. And then they were asking me on this trip. It's been 20,000 miles since then. 16 months. Nothing has happened to the car. But it kind of left an imprint on them, if you will. Maybe traumatized them a little bit because we were stuck in the Appalachian Mountains, and it was during a snowstorm. It was. You talk about being stranded. It was a bad situation. So leading up to this trip, they're like, Dad, are we going to be okay on this trip? I'm like, yeah, we're going to be fine. Car's been running great. It got repaired. No big deal. Well, we went out to Colorado, no issues out there. And toward the end of our trip, I took them all around town. It's about 700 miles, so no problems going out there.
Mm-hmm.
Driving around out there, no issues. We went up to the top of Pikes Peak, which is cool, super cool. Now you can drive all the way. It's paved all the way up. There's a parking lot now at the gift shop. It's great. But the second to the last day, we went to the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, which that's a super cool zoo, by the way. If you've ever been to that one, that one's pretty neat. It's on the side of the mountain, and it's a private zoo. Just really cool to be like in a mountain type environment, and you see lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! But anyway, we left there, and we're leaving the parking lot, and the clutch goes all the way to the floor, and I'm like, oh no! And I'm like, there's nothing. Like you're not. Like it's pushed all the way to the floor. There's no, we're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of messing with him. Like, you got to be kidding me. This is the exact same symptom that left me in a bind, the last time around. And so we're in an intersection, a very busy intersection. And there's kind of like a hill. It's kind of like a dangerous situation. I threw Paige in the car so she could steer it while I push it out of the way. I call USA, get a tow. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm about like emotionally, like you've got to be effing kidding me. I am about done with this car. My kids are like, what the hell? What are we going to do? I had to get them back. Like, we were going to leave the very next day because I got to get them back for their trip with their mom. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And I'm like, cool, no sweat. I'll call USA. I'll take it to the, luckily there's a VW shop nearby because down to where I live in Waynesville, no one will touch it really because it's
really
the form. Yeah. If you have I had an Audi before, and if it's not a Ford, GM, Dodge, no one's going to really touch it down there.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So noted. If you if you live in a rural area, you got to find the right mechanic for German cars. So anyway, long story short, I had it towed. Luckily, we had some friends there. They gave us a ride back to our Airbnb. And the very next day, I had VW diagnosed it, $4,400 for the repair. And I'm like, surely this has got to be covered under warranty because I just had this damn thing, the same damn thing happen. So I look at my the paperwork. Well, VW only honors 12 months, 12,000 miles. It's been 16 months, 20,000 miles. And I'm like, and it's basically the exact same repair. And I'm like, I'm like, I cannot keep pouring this kind of money into this car. What do I do? And luckily I've got the funds in, that's what an emergency fund is for. And I'm blessed at this stage of my life to have that. But earlier in my life, I mean, it still stung pretty bad. And I'm at the point, like, this is getting to the point where, is the car even worth it? Like, do I want to fix the car? Or do I want to sell the car? And so I'm trying to make that decision. And I'm like, you know what? And if I decide to make the decision, the parts aren't I might be able to get out of there by Friday night, but realistically, the beginning of the next week, which would be like today or tomorrow. And I'm like, well, shoot, I don't know. Let me talk to my wife. Let me figure it out. Let me see, let me look at my options. But then I start thinking about, like, how am I going to get home? So I start calling rental car companies. And what I realized was that they just recently had a hailstorm and all of the rental cars are depleted in the region. Like, there's no rental cars to be had. Enterprise was like 10 days out. I literally, from my Airbnb, I was trying to call around and I couldn't talk to a human being.
Oh yeah.
Which I just want to say that if you're a business owner, you need, if you have good customer service, you're going to stand out in this market, because I will go above and beyond now to pay for good customer service and talk to a human being. I probably spent a couple hours, on Travelocity and Expedia and going directly to the rental car sites. And it just, I couldn't make sense of some things. I'm like, my situation is a little nuanced, and I couldn't talk to a human. So after I couldn't find a car anywhere online, I decided to walk to the Enterprise so I could talk to a human. And they're like, hey, all the hail that we had recent hailstorms, there was like one vehicle on their parking lot. And they're like, some lady's going to come pick it up here in a little bit. I literally have no cars for you. And we're running 10 days out. And I'm like, okay, well, can you call another Enterprise, or do you have any, can you call the other rental companies? Like, no, we're independently owned and we can't tap into the system. Like, and there was no empathy whatsoever either for my situation. Not that he have to give me any, but I just, from a customer service perspective, just a little bit of, hey man, I wish I could help you out. Maybe an attempt to help me out or make me feel like I'm okay.
Yeah.
There was nothing. So he's like, there's a Hertz, like another mile and a half up the road. You can go there. It's like, shit. Okay. Man, I just walked here a mile. I've been walking all morning and everything. I hopped on a little Lime. I found a little Lime scooter and I, pedaled my little, I guess you don't pedal. You just kind of, I don't know what you do.
Ride it. You just jump on it.
You just jump on it. And I had to download the app. Vroom, 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 and just kind of zip up the road. So I zipped up there. Same thing. We don't have any cars for you. And she was kind of rude about it. Like, I hate it when you go into a place and they're like
inconvenienced.
Like you're inconveniencing them.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
And so that was budget. That was Hertz. Bottom line is there's no cars. And I'm like, shit, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I talked to the dealer. I even started looking at, what if I bought a vehicle here? Because I was thinking about maybe selling my 4Runner. So I test drove a few vehicles and was talking to Lacey about that. I'm like, man, I really don't want to buy a vehicle from an emotional perspective.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm really at this point, really super stuck. And like, even the manager's like, this is your fastest way home is if you buy a vehicle today. Well, of course they're going to say that.
Yeah.
But after doing some number crunching and I sat down and I just kind of detached myself. I did some math. I'm like, okay, I don't want to make an emotional decision. This is stupid. What else can I do outside the box that would, what I need to do? I guess I need to make a decision on whether or not I need to sell or keep the car. What are some other options? Well, I could fly home. Someone had mentioned Toro. I looked at a few, just looking at all my options. And, at that point, I was very emotional. I talked to the dealer, like, look, they were going to give me $500 for the car if I decided to sell it as is, because they still had to do the repair before they could sell it. So I'm like, and I'm emotionally at this point, I'm over this car. I'm like, I could fly home and just cut my losses and be good to go at this point. Like, I don't have enough middle fingers for this situation. um, so I decided to go back to my Airbnb and I just kind of slept on it. We played some board games that night. I just kind of slept on it. At some point that night, I went to a VW. I'm like, I had an idea of like, you know what? I'll just leverage Facebook and see what maybe I can find. I'm in a VW TDI owners group. So
Mhm.
I put my situation in this group of 60,000 people. Surely I would get some good advice. And this kind of speaks to like where we're at today in today's society. I
Mhm.
posted a photo, kind of making light of the situation, but like, hey, what would you do in this situation? Would you keep the car? Would you sell it?
Yeah.
This is where I'm at on the numbers. Is it worth it? What's your experience? And I got roasted for being an idiot. I couldn't drive a manual. Maybe my kids were bad luck. Oh, they looked me up. Oh, you're a motivational speaker. Well, you give people advice. Well, you should know not to go to a dealer because that's horrible advice, right? And I'm like, I'm just getting raked over the freaking coals. Like, man, kick me while I'm down, kind of a thing. Um, but out of that, I did have a few people that reached out to me. One guy was like, man, you handled some of those comments with grace. I just really wanted to reach out to you and give you my perspective. And
Mhm.
long story short, I was able to find from the good graces of some cool people.
Mhm.
I found a local German mom and pop shop, like one of those. You got to find them. What I've learned is you've got to find a mechanic that just loves German made vehicles that aren't affiliated with the dealership and they
Yeah.
just have a passion for them. I happened to find one about a half mile away from the dealership. And another guy was like, man, here's your mistake. You took this VW. They're wonderful vehicles, but they're known to have issues from time to time. They're just kind of quirky that way.
Mhm.
And you used it as a primary vehicle and it left you in the lurch again. And don't get rid of the vehicle, but this is my advice. Go find you a mechanic. You need to find one locally too. That if you love the car, then this is what you got to do. And so anyway, I found a really cool mechanic. He listened to he was very helpful to me. Told me I could keep the car there as long as I needed to. He'll get it squared away. Gave me a significant discount on the work. His parts were less expensive. Like everything was way less expensive. Like the dealers are going to rake you over the coals
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, even if you fly to Denver, I'll even drive the car up to you and meet you at the airport. Like he
Oh,
was super,
wow.
super, super cool. So this is German Motorsports in Colorado Springs. So you got a VW, you're in the area, go see Chris at German Motorsports in Colorado. He squared me the hell away. I was also due for a big timing belt repair as well.
Mhm.
And so he basically talked me off the ledge about getting rid of the car. He's like, look, you're going to get more for the car if you get it fixed. So if you do decide to sell it, still get it fixed. I did have a couple offers as is for it.
Mhm.
But yeah, bottom line is he scored me away. And so and the dealership, because of the dealer had a good friend that worked at budget, he was able to pull a favor for me and he did get me a car. Now it cost me like $400 for the car for 24 hours, but it was a one way.
Oh, yeah,
And
those are notoriously expensive. Oh.
yes, so I was able to get a car, and Chris at German Motorsports is fixing my car, and I can come back out in a month or two whenever I'm ready to come get the car and get it picked up. I got the kids home, and we got out of there on Thursday, and it was just a rough 36, I guess 48
Mhm.
hours, because then I had to drive back, and it was just 48 hours of just like complete, like just what the hell's going on. And I was literally there for a little bit. I just literally felt, I had to leave the Airbnb. I didn't have a car. I was legit stranded.
Mhm.
And I I guess all that to say that, some of the I really had to dig into my mindset toolkit to help me navigate it, to keep a positive mood in the situation,
Mhm.
not freak out in front of my kids because they were worried. And I didn't do that so well the very first time that this had happened. I lost my emotional control in front of my kids, and I felt really bad about it because of the situation. And I'm like, this time around, like, okay, I'm going to be better. I'm going to lose my cool. And I just kept reminding myself, in the grand scheme of things, like this is just a minor inconvenience,
Mhm.
and that this problem can be solved. And I think for me personally, I have found myself in situations before, and I didn't always handle them well. But this is the case for doing the mindset work, is so you have the tools
Mhm.
to be able to detach yourself from the situation, so you don't lose emotional control. You don't make an emotional decision, because, and I was still fighting that the whole time. Almost bought a car. I wanted to lose my shit. I wanted to do
Yeah.
this and that, burn the
Mhm,
car down and like just
mhm.
freak out on the VW place. And the whole time I just felt like for the most part, I kept my composure. I did have a moment where I called Lacey and I'm like, you know what? I'm at my wit's end. Um, and I'm just so frustrated. But I felt pretty proud of it. Looking back at it, I felt pretty proud of how I handled the whole thing. And I just, I took time to go walk, meditate, and breathe. I did some journaling in there. I broke down the problem sets, and I just like tried to find I tried to hunt the good stuff, if you will, and kind of,
Yeah.
take my wins when I could get them. I accepted the emotion, and I just tried to like flip the script on the emotion and try to reset my intention. I sought after perspectives, like other people's perspectives, that maybe have been through the situation. That's why I reached out to the VW group. I didn't like get bogged down in like fighting and arguing with a bunch of assholes that were just roasting me and publicly when I
Mhm.
was, and that was very hard to do. And it was noted by, one of the gentlemen in the group, which is why he reached out to me. And, I just try to celebrate every small victory along the way. I just try to take the time to celebrate it. And that's, just taking the problem and kind of breaking it down into bite-sized chunks and not losing my control and just reminding myself, like, this is just an inconvenience. This is just an inconvenience. I'm going to be
Mhm.
okay. I am frustrated, but it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And it worked out. I'm still a little frustrated, but I'm back home. Kids are cool. And it's going to be something that we're going to laugh about the rest of our life. And
Yeah.
so, uh, I think we all from time to time find ourselves in situations, and, I don't know. That's why, like, I'm a big believer in like the Forge and these mindset groups, is because it's a disciplined practice that gives you the tools to navigate life's challenges when life kicks you down. And I felt like I was kicked down, but I think I felt like I handled it very well because of
Mhm.
those tools. So
Yeah. Well, you have the tools to do it, and, you're right. I don't know if it was just me and you talking about it or you mentioned it here, but you mentioned it here. So the fact that it's hard to get talk to a live person. I mean, that itself, even just without being in a frustrating situation, that is so frustrating to me. And I'm only hurting myself when I allow myself to get frustrated over that, right? Because the robot on the other end doesn't care, and the company that I'm trying to get a hold of, they don't care. But it's really hard sometimes, especially if you're not feeling well, and you're trying to get a hold of somebody, or you're just in a crappy, whatever. Even if you just need an answer, and it's like, why is it taking me 10 million robot
yeah,
instructions that I have to listen to, and hitting the wrong number and getting transferred and then getting disconnected over and over. It's just like,
yeah, yeah,
it's horrible.
yeah. In that time of like, I mean, it's a first world crisis, so it's not. I
Yeah.
mean, crisis is probably. I just think of other situations that I've been in and other
Mhm.
people's plights, right? But for me at the time, I was in a bind. I was in a jam,
Yeah.
and I was just seeking. I'm in another town where I don't know a whole lot of people, and I just need someone to empathize with me and just show a little care and concern.
Mhm.
And some of these businesses, I just felt like they just didn't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when Chris from German Motorsports, like the guy cared. He genuinely cared about me. He gave me a ride. He assured me that I'm going to be okay. He's going to drive my car around while I'm gone. He was willing to drive it to Denver. Like I felt like, okay, this guy's got me. Like, and it felt so reassuring. And it's just hard to find that in today's society.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell, if you're a business owner listening to this, or you work for an organization, I just feel like, I don't know, you will stand out in your organization if you provide good customer service and you care about people.
Yeah, train your people to train good customer service, train it into them, because the I don't know, over the past how many years, I feel like there's been a decline with the automation of things, right? That
Yeah.
everything's being automated and there's less face to face and less human to human contact. And, I think that art sometimes gets lost, and it's
Yeah.
very, very, very important. Just not even nowhere near what you went through, but going up to get a hotel in St. Louis this weekend. I Online, I'm like trying to see, okay, well, this room has what I was looking for was more room. I wanted a room that definitely had a couch to sit on, not sleep on, but sit on. So the kids could come over, Deanna's girlfriend could come over, because so we could go swimming and there would
Mhm.
be a place to sit, not just a bed and a couple chairs. And it was hard to figure that out online. So I called the hotel itself, and the young girl that answered the phone, she wasn't rude, but she was rushed. You could tell. I looked at her, I was like, man, they must be slammed full of people. And so she hurried up and answered my question. I had another question. She's like, just hold on one moment, please. Like, she sounded like she was overwhelmed, not trying to be
Yeah.
rude. But then she transferred me to the reservations line. I was like, okay, well, let's just see where this goes. And he tried to help, but then the call got disconnected. And I was like, well, I guess we'll just see what we get when we get there. And when we got there, the young man checking us in, the card maker was down to make the keys to get into the rooms. So
Mhm.
they were having to walk every person up and meet people at their rooms to let them in and out. And when I tell you the place was packed, I was like, "Oh, I feel so bad for you guys." Like, he's like, "Yes, ma'am, but we're trying." I was like, "Oh,"
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But, nothing near what you went through, but it was just like, I don't know. I mean, even on such a small scale, it's just like, if you don't have the tools to be like, well, that it is what it is. If you're one of those people whose fuse gets lit very easily and you lose your temper and you're not able to talk yourself off the ledge, I can't imagine surviving in today's society just on the regular.
I am very impatient when it comes to stupidity. I was on the phone. Okay, this right after I got back on this was when I come back Friday. Friday. My my daughter had to go to an appointment, so my ex-wife calls me, and there's an issue with my insurance. I had to call the insurance company online. You call the automated number. This is stupid. This is when you call and they have to verify your identity. They ask you, okay, what is your social security number? You pin it in. What is your zip code? What is your birthday? And you pin it in, and they get you to the person. Okay, you got to wait 5 minutes, talk to this person. Then the person answers the phone, and they ask you the exact same questions that you just had to punch in. And then I got transferred 3 times and had to do the same damn thing every single time with each person. I'm like, my head just wanted to explode just because of just how silly that is. And just like, I just want a little empathy, and I just want one person to solve my problem and just not feel like I'm just being passed. Anyway, we could have a whole podcast on just me complaining about customer service issues. But, but but that's just the world that we live in today. And I don't even know. The point is that it gets so incredibly frustrating,
Yeah.
and it's so difficult. And I don't know. I
You have the tools to deal with it. That is the whole point of today's podcast is,
I'm
you're going to
getting
find yourself in tough situations, and you got to have the toolkit to be able to deal with
I'm
it. So you
getting angry just thinking about it. But it's all first world stuff. Like, it's all silly. It's silly. Like, it's just silly, time wasting stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the whole point of, I guess, this whole story and really is to make the case for that in the grand scheme of things, usually your problems aren't nearly as significant as other people's problems. And I'm always thinking, like, these situations will always be things that you'll remember and
Mhm,
have laughs about later. You just have to go through it. And life is a series of struggles
mhm,
and challenges. And it was kind of an adventure to try to figure out this problem. And it
mhm.
sucked at the time, but it's also like, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm stuck in Colorado Springs. There's worse places to be stuck.
Yeah.
And it's just a car. It's just a math problem. It's just I just have to figure out the math and figure it out. And yes, it sucks, but I have an abundance mindset. I can recreate the loss, and cars break. And I had to just kind of walk the dog on all of these things that, I remember earlier in my life where we'd have a car breakdown, not only was like a transportation and would jeopardize your ability to get to work, but it was like a financial crisis, and so it was like a domino effect. And I just feel that I'm blessed that, I have the means to, yeah, it stung, but I've got the means and it's replaceable. And, we have our health and everything is, grand scheme of things, everything's okay.
That's right.
So that's what it's all about. So yeah, if you've been stuck up shit creek without a paddle, we'd love to hear about it. We'd love to hear how did you navigate through that? What are some of the strategies you use to deal with challenges like that from a mindset perspective?
Yeah.
And and these always make for good stories. That's part of living life. And so we'd love to hear about it. So you can DM us directly. Make sure you go to the Facebook page, Do Our Things Nation, or you can email us at dhtbranding.com. Also, see here. Oh, yeah. My favorite part of the week is our weekly winners. Let me tee this up here. I'm excited about this one. This one's cool. We talk about someone that's got like just a positive mindset. All right. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is Josiah Mihawk. He's been a part of the Do Hard Things Nation for a while. I remember. Oh, it's not sharing, is it? What's going on? There he is. There's Josiah. So Josiah's been a part of the Do Hard Things Nation for a bit. He was a part of the last round of the E3 challenge. And, something that stands out from Josiah is that he's always got a smile, very upbeat, very positive individual. And, Josiah has been battling cancer. And it's been ongoing for him. And I didn't, to be quite honest, I didn't realize it, how long he's been kind of navigating through this. And he just has such, when I think about, my problems with my car, I think about individuals like, kind of going back to health and like bigger life battles, right? Josiah's been battling this and he's done it with such grace and just such poise and with such a positive outlook that it's really, truly inspiring. And, anytime you see Josiah, I mean, his smile is infectious. It just makes me, it's comforting. And so even though he's having some challenges with his health, he's in wonderful, fantastic spirit and just living life to the fullest. And that inspires the hell out of me. And that's why, Josiah, you're this week's Do Hard Things Weekly Spotlight winner. We're going to send you a shirt. And we just appreciate you and sending positive energy and prayers your way, that you just beat this thing. And, we just appreciate you for being you. And so thank you.
Yes.
So thanks for just being a reminder. Right. So yeah, that's what it's all about. Yeah. And that's, I don't know. It inspires the hell out of me. So.
Same. I mean, look at that smile. That's a great smile.
Infectious.
Yeah.
So Josiah, we appreciate you. We're going to send you a shirt. And anyone out there listening, if you know someone out there that is, facing a challenge, overcoming things, doing incredible things that inspire, we want to hear about it because we want to shed some positivity, shine some positivity into this world. So that's it. That's all I got. I know I think I talked a lot this morning, so thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
Heck yeah, man.
My first world problems.
It's Monday. Let's do it. Let's go out, make somebody smile, make yourself smile. I'm going to make myself smile. I'm going to go get my teeth cleaned and I'll be smiling even bigger later today.
That's a good reminder. I need to go do that. I need to go. It's been a year. I guess we're supposed to do it once a year, right?
Yeah. I think once every year, 6 months. I don't know. Something.
I have to go get an MRI today. I got to get in the tube and get my shoulder scanned.
Ooh, no fun. Yeah.
I'm a little claustrophobic. That's a hard thing for me. So
yeah.
Mindfulness, meditation. Yeah. Anyway, keep doing hard things.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see you guys next episode.